Alright, this is Vegeta8259, and this is part 3 of the Perfect Grade 00 Riser review. And we're just going to finish up articulation for the legs and go over some final thoughts of the inner frame. So, we've done the skirt armor. There's a little slide right here on the bottom. You can see there's a hole there that just covers that up. That's for the display base if you got the initial release version, which I think is still pretty easy to get at this point, which is March of 2010. But later, I don't think Bandai's planning on including the display base, so if you want the display base, hurry up and get it. The legs, hip joints I should say, are on a pivot joint, so they can go forward pretty far because of the minimal skirt armor, back, and they can go out. They can't go out full 90 degrees though, only about that far. And then there's rotation, 360 below the hip joint. You've got a either double or triple jointed knee, I can't remember. There's a joint up here near the top, which is a ratcheting joint, so it's nice and strong. It's not going to be loose at all. And it bends about that far. And then you've got your second locking mechanism. All you have to do is press on the inside of the knee and bend the leg, and it bends the rest of the way for the it doesn't really look like a full 180, but it's almost a 180. Of course, there's going to be some more armor plates here when you've got all the armor on that's going to fill up this big gap. But yeah, just about a 180, so not bad. And you have to press on that locking mechanism again to move that joint back into place. Like I said, sometimes these locking mechanisms can be a pain. Not really a big fan of them. Alright. What else? Also, not really articulation, but I just thought it was nifty that these little clamps come off, and you can, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to have to reassemble this, but you can push out this whole circular piece here, which includes the locking mechanism, and the whole thing just comes out, and there will be a big hole in the knee armor. And I just thought that was a nice feature. Alright, the front ankle armor can move up, but the back one doesn't, it just stays in place. Also, I forgot to mention there's a little piece of armor right here on the back of the knee that can move up and down. Also, the ankle armor, not ankle armor, just the ankles are have several joints in them actually. There's a double joint up here inside the leg that lets it go forward and back and rotate slightly, but because of the ankle armor it can't really rotate very far, so it only goes about that far to each side. It can also go side to side, and then there's another joint down here inside the foot which does pretty much the same thing. Lets it go side to side, forward and back a little, rotate a little, and then the rest of the leg just fell off. Then you've got two joints in the feet. You got a joint right here which goes up, and then a joint at the end of the toe which goes up as well. They don't bend down, just up, and the heel doesn't move, it stays in place. So I think that's about it for articulation. I don't think I've missed anything. And don't worry about all these little pieces of armor that keep falling off. It's just because 00 Riser's in his bare inner frame. Once you've got all the armor parts on, you won't be finding anything falling off. Anyway, what I've done is I've taken some of these armor panels off of 00 Riser's chest and back, and I just want you to look at this little hole right here. Now remember how Bandai had, they were pretty successful in creating a perfect grade Astray from their perfect grade Strike Gundam mold. Just using almost the same interframe and just replacing a few parts. Now when I look at this hole in 00 Riser's chest, I just can't help but see an Exia. So I don't know if it'll actually happen, but that's just what I see when I see this big hole in the 00 Gundam's chest. Especially since the 00 Gundam doesn't have a GN drive in his chest, but Exia does. So, one last thing about the inner frame is actually one of two complaints. My first complaint was the elbow joint. My second complaint is the lack of mechanical detail. As you can see, it's mostly just flat planes. There's not really a lot of scribed on detail on this inner frame. And I was a little bit disappointed that, especially considering the price tag this guy comes with. Because my last perfect grade, the Astray, had tons of detail on the inner frame. And my other two, RX-78 and Wing Zero Custom, also have lots of inner detail. But it was noticeably absent on the 00 Riser. So I just think that's something Bandai could have done better with. But I guess that does it for the inner frame part of the review, and make sure to come back for the next part, which I think will be part 4, and we'll see the 00 Gundam with all of the armor panels attached.